Hello, hello. This is Yuri with Let's Talk Moving Podcast, the moving sales professionals. And with me today, I got Gadi Binness, the owner of relocationinsurance.com. So, Gadi, how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks, Yuri, and thanks for having me here.
Great.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. And Gadi, how did you get started in the moving industry? How long have you been doing it?
Oh, I've this is now I think 38 years if I count correctly.
Wow.
Started in
Wow.
1986. Came here from Israel. Started to work with Schleppers Moving in New York City. At some point, I started my own moving company. Joined the company that then was called Myers. We became Mayflower agents. Sold my business, then moved to work with Moving.com and left them in 2003 to start movinginsurance.com. Moving Insurance LLC is the legal name of the agency. You know,
Okay. So you were doing moving. So what led you to the choice of going into the insurance?
really with moving.com, I realized the power of the internet connecting via the internet to consumers on one hand, customers, shippers, we call them, but also moving companies. And we were looking for different things, different programs to offer customers and movers. The idea came up of moving insurance, but it didn't materialize because the company at that point was sold to another company who didn't want to do anything with it. And I decided, I'm going to do it myself.
Okay.
And
Great.
that's how
Great.
movinginsurance.com was born.
So, what type of insurance programs, policies do you offer?
We offer a range. The main policy, obviously, is the moving insurance policy, but we also offer insurance for storage, separate from the moving. So if customers are not buying moving insurance, but they are in storage or the shipment in storage, we offer that. We offer mobile storage insurance. So if customers rent mobile containers,
So, you're talking
self
about storage and transit, right? That's what we're
so,
talking about.
we talk about the pods type,
Hmm.
the
Okay.
Go Minis like that, when customers load it themselves. Self-storage, if customers move items into self-storage, we offer that as well. Fine art, moving insurance. Our policy calls if the fine art content is more than 50% of the content of the shipment, it has to be under a separate policy. So that's fine art. Small move, any moves that are less than 2,000 pounds, we would insure that.
And now for a word from our sponsors. If you're a moving business owner, you may have already heard of Moversville, an email marketing service that helps moving companies increase, repeat, and referral business. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services that cater specifically to the moving industry. You can find companies that provide moving software, moving sales services, marketing services, moving equipment providers, and much, much more. Visit moversville.com today to learn more.
Logistics, what we consider logistics is any commercial types of goods, machinery, laboratories, hospital equipment, things like that. Also, large office and industrial type of moves and projects covered under logistics. And we also offer the loading and unloading. So again, going back to these pods, if customers are looking for insurance just for the loading or unloading portion of the move, we would do that as well.
Wow. So everything and anything insurance one wise as it relates to moving.
Right. If they invented a type of move or method, we covered it.
Oh, okay, that's great. That's great. So, what differentiates you from your competitors? Obviously, you're a big name on the market. Baker is the big name on the market. So, what
Right,
differentiates
right,
you from somebody like Baker or anybody else that's out there?
right. So first, I'll say I have a lot of respects to our competitors. We're probably, even though we've been around for 21 years, we're probably the youngest. Baker's been around for a long time. I think what's unique to us is we're a relatively small group, but about 80% of our employees come from the moving industry. So,
Okay.
either actually moving company owners, besides myself, at least another person who used to own a company, people who worked for Uni Group in the past in different capacities, or just were in the moving industry in different capacities. And it allows us to speak the moving language. So when we talk to either a mover or a customer, and they say, well, I have this whatever piano to move. We know exactly what needs to be done, not just from the insurance side of it, but also from the moving side of it. And that's very special. And I think it connects us again, both to movers and to consumers. The other thing is I think about 70% of our employees are licensed either as what we call insurance producers or
Hmm.
agents
Hmm.
or as claims adjusters. So it gives
Okay.
us the legal, certification. The other thing is our technology. We were the first to launch a website that allows consumers to directly buy insurance online. We're approaching a big, step coming up with new technology as well, and that's very key for us. And so you can look at our agency, of course, one as an insurance agency, but also as a technology company marketing our services online.
Are you a mover looking to make an impact? Discover Moving Letters AI and join the ML Plus Club today to get 100 free letters for your campaign. Elevate your customer engagement with the personal touch of handwritten letters.
If you want to take your company to that next level, it's the only way to subscribe. If you're doing anything but Moving Letters AI, you need to get on it. So it's going to take your business to that next level. You're going to see an increase in that revenue. Let's go.
Don't miss out. Join the revolution and start making moves that matter.
Okay, wow, that's awesome. That's great. That's a lot of things to put out there. Now,
Definitely.
obviously, you and I talked about this prior to scheduling it, and you said that there was something that you wanted to unveil that's coming up very shortly here.
Yeah.
Which I
So
guess that would follow my next question, which was, what makes you unique?
I would say this is the first venue where we announce it to the public. So we partnered with Smart Moving, the software company, to
Hmm.
offer moving insurance via the software. And what's unique about it, if you think about the process where users would buy an airline ticket, and at the end of the process, it will say, "Are you interested in travel insurance?" We did the same thing with Smart Moving on in the moving industry. What's unique about it? It cuts the process from about, I don't know, 12 steps currently on our website to 3 steps. It's right there available for the customer. Information is transacted via an API, so it's in nanoseconds. The salesperson who's speaking with the customer will know what the quote is, what will be the cost, and can offer that coverage to the customers. And we're very excited about it. It's I would call it groundbreaking in the moving industry. So that's the big announcement, and thanks for asking me about it.
Oh, that's great. So you're doing CRM integration, basically, right?
Integration, exactly, exactly. Yeah,
Wow, that's awesome. That could be a big thing for a lot of you guys listening. So there's a way
yeah,
to do this now within the CRM. Have
exactly.
that as be part of the steps when you offer your quote to a client. If insurance beyond, of course, the basic 60 cents per pound is something that they wish to obtain. So that
Correct,
option is obviously there. So,
correct.
Gadi, so what is besides this integration, is
Mhm.
there any other goals this year? What would you like to achieve? What's the next big thing? I mean, obviously
Yeah,
we got this going on, but is there another big thing on the horizon?
the other big things, right? I can't obviously reveal all of them, but really what we're looking at is utilizing more of the technology. A lot is being talked about AI. We have some great ideas about how to integrate AI into the moving insurance process. So it's easier for customers, number one, but also for movers to offer that. And it should be said that during the process and during the innovation that we're looking at, we're obviously looking at how can we also have the moving company benefit, not just by us offering the service, which I think, or the product, which I think is very necessary, but also from a financial perspective. So we currently do have a program where we compensate movers for the referrals and for joining hands with us, so to speak. We're looking to improve that as well in several areas. The other area of integration that we're looking at is, as I mentioned before, the storage insurance, or what do we
Sure.
call the movers storage insurance, for all these shipments that are in storage, and for the most part are really not covered by real insurance. They're covered by the valuation or by the legal limited liability. We're offering additional coverage for that. So that's another big plan that we're going to launch at some point this year.
So one thing that I want to ask you about, because obviously I talk to clients, so obviously we're doing sales, obviously we're booking jobs. So
Right.
I often use the whole pods versus moving company argument, right? I use
Right.
that all the time. So, and one of the arguments that I use when I say that is I'm talking about the fact that the company loading the truck is going to say, well, we just loaded the truck. The pod is going to say, well, we just provided a box.
Right.
The company unloading is going to say, well, we just unloaded. It was already broken. So how would that work from your side of things, from insurance side of things, in terms of insuring some company loading, insuring some company unloading, insuring the box? How would
Right.
that work?
Right. So great question, and it does come up. So first of all, to remember that in order for the customer to buy insurance from us, their moving company or their moving service provider need to be certified by us and be an affiliated company with us. So we go through, and we have hundreds and hundreds of moving companies all across the US and international that we vet prior to starting to work with them. So if both companies that you mentioned, the loading company and or the unloading company are separate and different companies, as
Mhm.
long as they're certified with us and an affiliate company with us, we would cover that
Okay, so
coverage.
that's the caveat.
That's a prerequisite.
You have to be certified. The pods
Correct.
or UPAC or any other kind of box or whatever, they have to be certified,
Well,
right?
not the pods. Sorry to interrupt you, Yuri. Not the pods, because the pod is a pod. But whoever loading this pod, whether it's the labor teams or a moving company, and the same thing on the other side, that's what needs to be covered. Now, if there's an accident, and let's say God forbid the pod, the truck rolls over, we will cover that anyway.
It's interesting. It's not something that you hear very often because usually the companies loading it, unloading it, they don't want to get involved in that part. So
Right.
that's an option. That's an
That's
option for
unique.
somebody
Yeah,
that does
absolutely
that.
unique
So that
option
is
with us.
unique. Now, explain the difference to me, please. Obviously, we talk about this a lot. So for moving, we're not supposed, since we're not, most movers are obviously not insurance company, not certified to be insurance company. They
Right.
can't use the words insured. They're supposed to use the word valuation. So
Correct.
what is the difference between the two? What is why this way and not that way?
Yeah, again, good question. It comes a lot because usually, the company, the moving company, the way they advertise and say we're licensed and insured, and the customer would think, okay, the insurance is covered. It's not, obviously. So basically, as you mentioned, the customer, the shipper has three options. One, to go with the legal liability, in most cases, 60 cents. We know it doesn't cover much. Second option is the valuation, and we are the third option. Valuation is offered by the moving company and it's based on the moving company's cargo policy, which means in case of a claim, the moving company would have to handle the claim and pay the claim. If the claim is a large claim, they may transfer that to their insurance carrier to, provide compensation based on that policy, which may mean increase of rates in the future, sometimes even cancellation of the policy. It also takes, obviously, there's a cost to have the resource take care of claims, etc. The other thing about valuation is it's not as comprehensive as the moving insurance. It doesn't offer mechanical electrical derangement. It doesn't offer person sets coverage. It's limited in the storage coverage that it allows, and it doesn't offer catastrophe coverage. All these coverages that I mentioned are offered by the moving insurance policy, which is a broader policy. It allows for 90 days for storage. It allows for extension for storage. We handle the claims, obviously, we pay the claims. So there's a big, big difference between the two. And we obviously suggest to movers to use our moving insurance in most cases, or in any cases the customer is looking for real and broad moving insurance coverage.
Yeah, very much understandable. So that, yeah, so you could allow like a wider variety of things that you cover. So like
Correct.
that's definitely the most comprehensive that I've heard, and also the biggest explanation of things, which is also why I wanted to get you on the podcast in the first place, because
Right.
I'll be honest with you, I've reached out to Baker too, but you're the one first come first serve, right? So
Thank you.
being able to offer that, it's great, and it's great for our consumers. It's great for people that are listening to the podcast because it's a wealth of information. So that's great. Now,
Correct.
what are obviously insurance is a difficult field to be in general, not to mention moving. So you're putting yourself in a very tight niche in at the same time with a complicated industry. What are the main hurdles that you've encountered during the years? What are some of the challenges?
And you're right, insurance is not an easy market. I never dreamt I'd be an insurance agent, but I'm very excited about it. Yet, obviously, it comes with some difficulties. First of all, when I started the business, when I went and looked for an investment and somebody who could maybe share the financial burden with me, I couldn't find anyone. People did not hear of moving insurance, and to date, people say, "Moving insurance, what is it?" So it wasn't, even out there in the public. So they were very hesitant and eventually did not invest in the business. It was all my own money. And also looking for a moving an insurance company. Probably movers know that the moving insurance industry from the insurance carrier side is very limited. Not every insurance company wants to go into this. So I had to really dig deep and hard to find an insurance carrier that would allow that coverage. On an ongoing basis, I think the biggest hurdle is educating the consumers. I mentioned before that many consumers, many shippers think, well, insurance, the moving company, they'll cover it, no problem. That's not the case.
Right.
And in many cases, they'll hear about us in the very last minute. As a matter of fact, statistically, we see that consumers buying insurance from us between 3 to 5 days prior to the move date. So it's the last thing they do. In many cases, they come to us in a very last moment when the movers are there, and unfortunately, we're not able to offer that coverage because it
Right.
needs to be purchased at least 2 days in advance.
Right.
So
And
these are
that's also the
rejected.
same thing that the movers would say. So the movers would want the consumer to figure out their for most places, not everybody, but for most places they would want them to figure out what they're doing with insurance prior to the move, not when the movers
Correct,
get there. But
correct, and
some of the
that's
people make that as a last second decision, maybe because they didn't like the guys that walked in or whatever the case may
that's
be.
true.
So they're making they're making a judgment call based on first appearances, which once
That
again, for you movers out there, that's another thing. Your movers, when they come to a job, they need to look kept. They shouldn't smell like weed. They shouldn't smell like cigarettes. They shouldn't, those first impressions mean a lot because that could be a difference of how that customer, how that homeowner treats your guys throughout the move. That makes a
exactly.
big difference. So same
Yep,
thing for
exactly.
insurance, whether they decide last second to try to get insurance because they're making a judgment call that you movers are not going to do the job safely for them, and they start worrying about their things, which means that now they're going to try to get insurance. Now they can't get insurance because it's last minute, and now they're
Right,
going to be stressed out the whole entire time, which is going to make it stressful for you guys. So
right,
all
right.
those things go hand in hand for sure.
Yeah. I'll throw you, if you don't mind, kind of a interesting statistics that we discovered many years ago. We used to allow, same day, as we call it, insurance, and we found out that it became the main source of claims for us. These policies that we sold the very same day ended up, for whatever reason, with more claims, and that's when we decided to change that
Right.
rule and allow it only 2 days prior to the move.
Well, as somebody that's been in the moving industry for over 20 years, that makes perfect sense to me, that statistic, because it's like if they haven't got insurance before, you're not there on the job. So maybe they just drop their china cabinet right there in front of you. And at that point, they're calling you and they want insurance. And
Right,
you don't know if the move's just started or if it started 2 hours ago or if it's starting 2 hours from now. So
correct,
yeah, whenever it's like this, the chance that they already have a claim on their hands and they're not telling you about it is pretty high. So
correct,
that makes perfect sense to me why people would do things like that. So yeah, I
right.
absolutely understand that. But of course, we can talk about this for many, many times, but this has been extremely informative and a lot of great information. And once again, Gadi, thank you very much for joining us on
My
the
pleasure.
podcast. We're going to make sure we put all your links below and all that other fun stuff. So, guys, please please subscribe to Let's Talk Moving podcast. Please follow Gadi and look at everything that they're doing. Check out their new integration and everything else. And once again, as I always say, the world moves on its own, so let the professionals move yours for you. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Yuri.
Thank you.